What's up? What's good? Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Monday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. Hope each and every one of you are doing great. And I hope you're ready for a great week. If you could please hit that like button, subscribe button, and that bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of most of my videos. So what's up, what's up, what's up? Happy Monday. It's been a while, I know, but here I am. I got asked to do a video about what's it like getting out. Your final day, the night before. What's that feeling like? And what kind of anxiety do you go through not really knowing what's ahead of you? So first off, it's a big difference whether you're getting out of federal or provincial. Basically, in provincial, once you get out at your 2/3, there's no chance of a parole violation. So you have to be criminally charged to go back to jail. But typically you're going to be on probation, and this makes it a lot easier for you to get a criminal charge. Because when you're on probation, it's don't associate with anybody with a criminal record, not actively involved in criminal activity. It's much more cut and dry. And basically, you're with anybody who's got anything on their record, you're going to jail. Now, one difference is you can't get your analysis in provincial. I think there might be super rare provincial parole cases where somebody might get your analysis, but just being released from a regular provincial jail on your stat ain't happening. On probation ain't happening, at least from what I've seen. Now, if you're getting out in federal, there's a lot more going on. If you don't have a legitimate address to go to when you're getting out, they're not just going to release you to the streets. You have to have somewhere in their system where you can go. If not, they're going to send you to a halfway house or a homeless shelter, depending on if you're a residency case or not. And usually they base whether you're going to be residents, which means on your stat, 2/3, you're going to a halfway house for minimum 3 months. It's usually for violent offenders only. So if you have a violent conviction on your record, you can almost bet that you're not going to go straight home. You're probably going to go spend some time in a halfway house first. And believe me, a halfway house sucks, but it is definitely better than prison. Now, there's two different types of halfway houses. There's a CCC halfway house, like Kiel Center or Hamilton or Kingston. These are basically jails. It's blue shirt guards that run the halfway house. The rules are very strict. This is for typically lifers and people with violence and bad institutional records. And once you go to a place like Kiel Center, good luck finishing your parole successfully. It's almost like you're not meant to, you know. The amount of hoops you got to jump through, how overwhelmed you become running from this point to this point, doing this group and this group and this and that. And it gets super overwhelming, especially for somebody who's not like a typical civilian or member of society, you know. Most of us are in jail not for doing what we're told or following rules, for quite the opposite. So when you get out, you now have rule. And for a lot of people, they haven't been taught how to live properly, you know, not ever in their whole life. And there's really nothing in the system to prepare you for getting out. There's a couple stupid programs. They're very generalized programs, basically just so they can say that they do it. But really, there's a lot of guys, you know, if you do 10, 15, 20, 25 years, the changes in society, technology, just the way people behave, the way people think, you're coming out to an alien world, and there definitely needs to be more preparation for guys like that. Now, you do have jails like Fembrook, aka Beaver Creek Medium, which is basically designed to help lifers, etc., learn how to budget money, cook their own food and stuff, to kind of give them a slight bit of preparation. But okay, so now we're going to talk about how do you feel. Now, one important thing I'm going to tell everybody is don't brag about your time. You know, you're better off to not even tell anybody when you're getting out. You might have a 1-2 homies that you trust enough to tell them, and they're not going to try and F your shit up. But for the most part, keep it to yourself. There's a lot of guys doing a lot of time, and a lot of them don't take too kindly to people bragging about how much time they have left or the fact that they're getting out. And you can understand why, you know. Not knowing when you're going home is difficult in itself. Now have a bunch of guys coming in and out, in and out. Some guys you see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. If you're a lifer, you know how many guys you see come in and out, in and out, in and out. Yet you're never given the opportunity to make a change in your life. But these people are over and over and over and over and over again. And I could see that as being pretty frustrating. You understand? So, yeah. So, but the one thing I will say is that if you get out, stay out, jump through the hoops, stay away from those involved in criminal activity. If you're on federal parole, you're going to get a bunch of conditions. Doesn't matter if you're on stat or parole. One of those conditions for 85% of people is to abstain from drugs and alcohol use at all times, carrying drugs and alcohol at all times. And a lot of people will even get attending anywhere where alcohol is the primary source of income, like a bar or a strip club or something like that. You're not allowed, you know. And then you'll have a jurisdiction. So if you get released in York Region, you're only allowed to York Region. If you get released to Toronto, you're only allowed to Toronto. If you get released to Durham Region, and etc. You know, you probably have about a 25 to 30 mile radius. At least that's what they say. But you'll have the whole region. If you are caught outside of that region, that is a parole violation. And that is something you need to think about and be aware of no matter where you're driving, going. You have to be on point. Because if you accidentally go out of your boundaries and you get pulled over, they're not going to care. And another big thing, anytime you get pulled over by the police, you have to give your parole card. If you don't offer up the parole card before they find it, that is a parole violation. At least they have the opportunity to give you a parole violation. So now, the month leading up to getting out, you are going to have anxiety, deep anxiety. It's going to be hard to sleep. You're going to have so much excitement. For me, I would get like sweaty palms. I'd have a hard time sleeping. You know, it would really mess with me physically. But it's excitement. It's not sadness. You're happy. And in the past, I was always getting out, except this last time, with the wrong things in mind. Like, oh, I'm going to go get high. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. I'm, just prioritizing all the wrong things. So that also builds up excitement. Now, when you go to your parole office the first day, your parole officer is going to be taking a lot of notes about your behavior. Now, over the next few months while you're on parole, they're going to be paying a lot of attention to the changes in your behavior, because everybody on their first day of parole is getting out gung-ho, feeling it. I'm on it. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be successful. Everybody always says the right things to their PO on the first day. But some small things to keep in mind. Anytime you go into your parole office, look at them in the eyes. Don't hide your eyes. Don't hide your face. I don't care if you're dirty, whatever it is. Look them in the eyes, because they're going to mark it if you don't, and it's going to be seen as suspicion of being suspicious. Now, if you don't have a job, be careful how much money you show your parole officer that you have. Don't go in there with new J's, new Amiri clothes, and this and that you clearly can't afford. It is going to put their antenna up, and they're going to start thinking you're suspicion of being suspicious. It could lead to them following you. It could lead to them giving you urinalysis above and beyond what you're normally getting, etc. So just be careful, man. If you don't have a job, go in there looking like a bum. Even if you're hustling, even if you don't want to look like a bum, make sure your parole officer doesn't know. These are human behavior specialists. That's what they go to school for, and they notice even the small changes in your behavior or in your personality. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, when you get out on parole, you could either have regular parole or team supervision, depending on if you're violent or your institutional record. So my first couple paroles, I was on regular parole. My second last parole was on team supervision, and my last parole, I was on regular parole, but I started with an ankle monitor, which I never thought was possible, but it happened this time. I had to wear anklet work boots so I could tie some damn boots up with steel toes to protect my feet, because that damn monitor, it's annoying, it's a pain in the ass, you don't want it. But it's better than being in fucking jail, and this is a fact. But parole's going to be difficult, you're going to seem overwhelmed. Your parole officer is going to throw some loops, they're going to throw some obstacles in there that you may not be ready for. A lot of guys, when they get out, they tell their PO right away, I'm dirty for weed. I was smoking weed in before I got out. It give you a little bit of grace period, and a lot of guys will go out and smoke. But that grace period is not guaranteed. You could tell your PO, I'm dirty for weed, and they could send you back. It doesn't really happen. It's better. I think it's better to be honest. I always told my PO I was dirty. But what it's going to do is it's going to set a timetable. So they're going to say, okay, you're dirty. You smoked last night. They're going to give you 2 or 3 weeks to clean out. Probably 3 weeks before they give you a urinalysis. Sometimes they may give you a urinalysis right away, see where your levels are at, and see if your levels are going down. These are all a possibility. Nowadays, you can smoke when you're on parole. You have to get a medical card, a medical marijuana card. So you'll have to go through Spectrum or one of these companies, talk to a doctor, become approved, and then buy from legal dispensaries. Even when you're at the halfway house, man, guys have weed in the office. They can go in there, balapating, sit out front of the halfway house and blaze it down. It's a much different time, man. I went back to jail how many times for smoking a spliff, and even my last parole, I was stupid. I smoked before I had my card, and it forced me to be honest with my PO and take the chance of getting a parole violation. Now, I had a job right away. I was doing really well, so she didn't send me back. But something like that is enough to get you sent back. Parole is not easy. It's not, So don't expect it to be. Now, on the first day I got out, the first place I go, Tim Hortons. I want a double coffee, and then right to the gas station or the convenience store, get a pack of smokes and smoke myself into a migraine. It happens to me every single time I get out. I smoke and smoke and smoke, and because your body's not ready for it, that migraine comes. So I preemptively, over the last few times I got out, would take Advil preemptively so I didn't get that headache and I could power smoke myself into oblivion. But you're going to be craving some food, all that jail food. Ugh. So in my situation, I didn't really have a chance to eat. I had to go right from the jail right to the shelter, or the rehab. And you only have like a few hours. You have a timetable to get there, so you're not supposed to stop anywhere. You're not supposed to stop except to get gas and possibly get some food really quick at a drive-thru or something. But you're not supposed to stop. Just kind of the way it is. Everybody does. Just don't take a long time if you do stop. Now, if you're getting out of provincial and you have probation, just follow your goddamn conditions. Probation is easy, man. You go, you show your face, you sign in or whatever, and you leave. You're not required to pee. You're not required to do nothing. And most POs don't even really pay attention. You know how many guys I know who's didn't show up to probation time and time again, and they didn't even get a breach? It just depends on you, how well you're doing in your life. And sadly enough, your PO or probation or parole officer, and I've had both. I had parole officers that were decent enough and fair, and then I had Sheldon Schwartz, who is the leader of team supervision, who is just a maniac. He was at my house every week. He is a nice enough dude, but he is any kind of fuck up, you're going back. And he gave me a bly. He gave me one bly. I had a dirty urinalysis for morphine. But I was able to lie and say that I was taking over-the-counter Tylenol 1s. He knew I was dirty. But because I had a job and stuff, he gave me the bly. I wouldn't suggest you do that. It's probably not going to work. Obviously, I share my stories with you guys, so you don't have to do these things yourselves or go through these things yourselves. If I could snap my finger, nobody goes to prison, nobody goes to jail, nobody's addicted to drugs, nobody has to get out. That's what I do, but that's not a reality, especially in 2023. It's hard out here, and some of the things you got to do to survive could land you in jail or prison. That's what my videos are for, to help prepare you so you're somewhat ready when you go in, and also so you have an idea of how to behave when you go in so you don't fuck it up for everybody who's in there. That is what I'm about. Ultimately, if I could stop everybody from going to jail, I would love to do that. I just don't think that's ever going to happen in the society we live in. Some people are just bad people. Some people will always just take advantage of those weaker, and that's a fact. But for you guys, I would say sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And I understand that, you know. I understand sometimes you got to take risks to live. But if you can find a legitimate angle to make money, do it, man. I'm telling you, in the long run, you make more. You're not spending half your life in jail doing stupid bits. It's just not worth it. And I know it feels good on your day. You're getting out the couple days before. You're excited. You're happy. But you never know, man. Somebody could be jealous that you're getting out and decide that they're going to attack you, run up on you, or put you in a situation where you could possibly lose your warrant or possibly get a criminal charge. You just never know. The best thing to do is stay out of jail altogether and stay away from drugs altogether, so it doesn't force you to have to do crimes to support your habit. Which, let me tell you, there's nothing dumber than going to jail for supporting a drug habit. It just isn't, you know. And you feel like it when you're in there. But, of course, it's amazing when you get out. But let's hope none of you ever have to go through that. I did it so many times. Just listen to me. Take heed. Don't go to jail. And, yeah, you know, some of the best days I had were the day I got out. But always those decisions eventually led to me going to jail. Because, of course, you know, I'd get out. I'd get high on the heroin or whatever. It's a great day, you know. Freedom at last. 6 weeks later, I'm dodging piss tests because I can't stop myself because I started the cycle. Bullshit, man. Life on the hamster wheel installment plan. Not fucking worth it. If you could please hit that like button, subscribe button, and that bell notification button to get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of most of my videos. So you guys already know, man. You already know. But I've seen a few guys get boxed up for bragging about getting out. Or they're bragging about getting out when they're in court at going for bail. And they do shit, they break the rules, they slam the doors, they think, I'm going home. And then for some reason, something happens, and they don't end up going home. They come back, whoopah, 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 defas, and it's a bad day. Stay out of jail, man. Love y'all. The new Matt Clark.